Hello everyone, on this video we'll be learning how to draft and sew a baby dress. So stay tuned and watch till the end. So the measurements you need are your shoulder, the child's shoulder measurement. So the shoulder we're working with is 9, bust 20, waist 20.5, half length 10, and then the armhole is 10. And the full length of our gown is going to be 20. So we'll use this measurement to draft out the half length of the dress. So now the shoulder of this baby is 9 inches divided by 2. You fold your tape like so and then mark it out. Then to get the neck, you just fold your I marked 2 inches wide and 2.5 inches deep, right? Then you mark out like so. Then on the shoulder slope, you come down. Do you get what I did? I divided the measurement. You know the shoulder is 9 inches divided by 2, 4.5. Then I divided 4.5 by 2 again to get the neck area. So the neck area and the shoulder area are equal. So on the shoulder slope, I came down by 1/2 inch and then I connected it like so. Then I'm going to mark out her armhole. Her armhole is 10 divided by 2 is 5. Hope you understand. So I'm going to mark it out. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to mark out the half length. So the half length I'm making use of is 10 inches plus 1 inch allowance, that's 11, right? I just mark it out. Then I'm going to place the bust measurements. The bust is 20 divided by 4 is 5. Then I added 1.5 inches allowance. Look at you see the way I'm folding my tape, right? You can just use it, it's very easy. Instead of punching your calculator, just fold your tape into 4 places and then you get your measurements immediately. You don't necessarily need to start calculating it and all that. So I've marked the bust measurements and then the half length measurement. I added 1.5 inches allowance and then I connect it. On the armhole line, I divided it by 2 and then went in by 0.25. and I connected my armhole, right? Then on the shoulder line, I tightened my shoulder slope by 1/2 inch. As you can see, I always tighten it. I said the reason for tightening it is to prevent that sharp edge at the shoulder area, right? That's why. So I marked her bust point directly on the armhole depth, right? So I'm just labeling my measurements, the bust, the half length, and then 1 inch allowance. So it's now time for us to cut out. This is the front bodice of the dress. So now it's time for us to cut out our measurements, right? I'm just writing it out 2 inches wide, 2.5 inches wide, 2.5 inches deep. That's what I did for the neck. So now we'll cut out our measurements like so. So when we're done cutting out this front, the next thing we're going to do is to cut out the back bodies, right? The only difference is that the back bodies, since we're going to be using zip, we'll just create a zipper allowance. That's the difference between the front bodies and the back bodies. And then on the zipper allowance area, we are going to make it curve a little bit at the zipper allowance area. I'll show you what I mean. Why are we doing that? We're doing it so that it will have shape at the zip area. It won't just be straight, right? So now I got my paper and then I'm going to cut it out like so. I used 1 inch for my zipper allowance. Can you see? I just marked it upwards with my ruler. And then on the neck area, I came down by 1 inch because I wanted the back neck to be higher than the front, right? So I came down by 1 inches and just connected it to the front using my curved ruler. Can you see? So now this is just virtually it. So I'll now cut it out. So that's the difference between the front bodice and the back bodice, the zipper allowance area, and then the neckline. Most times when the neckline of your front is high, the back should be a little bit lower. Then if the front is low, the back should be high, right? So now we're done cutting out, we're done drafting out this top. Now the material I'm going to be using for this tutorial is a lace material, because a lace material will be, how will I say it now? Most people find it hard, yes, to interface a lace material. So I'll be teaching us how to use a lace material. But you can use an Ankara material if you so please, right? So yeah. So now I just shaped the back. Can you see? I went in by 0.75. So now this is our back bodies. It's time for us to now cut it out on our main material. So now this is where the work begins. So stay tuned, guys. So now I've gotten my lace material. I placed my pattern paper on top of it, and then I'm just tracing it out, right? I'm tracing it out because I've already added my allowance on the pattern paper. So for those that don't, that's why I always advise, always add your allowance on your pattern paper, so you just draft everything once. Now, I want us to also know something about the placing of material. If you look at this material, you see that the what do we call it? The bottom part that has the borders, for the front, I put it under, and for the back, I put it on the zipper allowance area. That's how I want the pattern of the material to be. Can you see? The borders of this material now on the front part is on the half length area, but on the back part is at the zipper allowance area, right? So when you're cutting materials, especially laces, always know how to place your pattern so that it will come out beautiful and nice, right? So this is the front and the back. So now for this lace, we're going to use a bridal satin. Now we'll cut out the same thing on a bridal satin, right? Now after using this bridal satin, we will still use lining for this. Why are we using lining for it? So that our work is going to be very neat. Most times, some people don't even use lining at all. They just turn it up with the bridal satin. And since a lace is open, it will show. Now I'm marking out my darts. The dart I'm using for this baby is 2 inches. Can you see? I've marked out my dart for the front, and then I'm going to cut out the bridal satin for the back of the dress, right? So please, guys, when you're making your baby dress, do follow these procedures step by step, especially if you're using a lace material. Yes, just follow. Even if you're using an Ankara, just follow it step by step. The only difference in Ankara is that you use just lining, but for lace you use bridal satin. I'm using a doll face, and then you're going to use your lining. Always remember to notch your zipper allowance area. Can you see? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to always mark out the front and the back, and then I'm going to match this down just directly on the lace, right? I'm not turning it up. I'm just going to sew it on top of it like so. Can you see? I've sewed the bridal satin on the lace. Now I'm going to use the lining to turn it up to give it a perfect and neat turning. That's why we need this lining, right? So if you're using a lace, you need a lining to be able to turn it up perfectly, and it will give a very neat finishing inside. So the same thing you did for your bridal satin, just trace out the front bodies and trace out the back bodies of your material, as you can see, and then keep it aside. You trace out the back too. So if you're working with a lace, please be patient and know the kind of lace you're working with. You get. So now I've cut it out. I'm now going to turn it up. I'm going to use the lace, the lining, to turn up the lace fabric. So now I'm marking out my dart leg. The dart leg I'm using for the back is the same 2.5 inches. Then I'm going to mark the length of the dart. The length of the dart for the back, I'm using 5 inches high, right? When you're drawing the length of the dart for the back, make sure it's under your armhole, right? Do you get? Is below your armhole. So my dart leg is 5 inches long. Then for the front, my dart leg is going to be, can you see, 2.5 inches long, like so. You draw your dart leg 2.5 inches long. And then now the next thing you're going to do is first draw your darts. I just want to show you, go in by 1/2 inch and then you connect it like so, slantly. This is how to draw darts. So I'm going to draw the darts for the front. Then you draw your darts separately, right? You draw for the bodies separately, then you draw for the lining separately. Why are we doing it like this? I want this outfit to be very neat, right? So when we're done, this is how it looks. Now I want to show you how to match down your neck part, neck area. So after turning up your neck like this is how it will look, right? So now you place it like so, and so on top of the main fabric. Just place your material like so, and sew on top of it. When you sew on top of it, right, it will turn out like this. Can you see? It's going to hold the neck from the lining. The reason for doing this is it's going to hold the neck area so that the lining won't be popping out. There are some outfits that you finish making, you see that the lining is coming out on the neck area. But if you match it down, right, it's not going to be coming out. So I'm done with the front bodies. Can you see how neat the inside is? I've fixed my darts, I've turned it over. Can you see how neat the inside of these bodies is? So that's our reason for using the lining. So now I'm going to join the back piece together. I'm just going to pin it together like so. Then the next thing we're going to do is, after pinning it together, we're going to join the shoulders, right? So guys, please, if you have any question, you can let me know and I'll try my best to explain to you, right? So now I'm just trying to get my measurements for the dress. You get, her bust measurement is 10, her waist measurement is 10.5, I think. Yes, just connect it like so. But the next thing we're going to do now is to join the shoulders. Please pay very good attention to this joining of shoulders. Now we want our outfit to look neat, right? So we're going to, when you get your front bodies like so, you get the back, you place the front and the back like so, and then you use the lining of the back to close it up. Can you see how I closed up the neck? Right? Then you join it. You get your front bodies, then you use the back to turn it over. You turn over the lining and then you join it. Why are we doing it like this? So that we'll conceal the sewing, so that after sewing it, it's going to look very neat. Can you see? Can you see how neat it's looking? Right? The sewing is inside. Right? So this is how it looks. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the belt. The belt is very simple. Just get your material and then fold it like so into 4 like so, and then just slant the edge Can you see how I just did it? I just slanted the edge, and then we're good to go. Cut it out. So most baby dresses have belts, right? So we're going to put belts in ours too. So when you're done, this is how it's going to be. So you sew round like this. Leave the edge to be open, because that's where you're going to turn it up. So I'm done sewing my belt. I've already closed the edges of my bodice, as you can see, and then I'm done sewing the belt. Now I'm going to add the belt to the bodice of the dress. Now I'm going to measure 1 inch from the waistline, right, and fix my belt like this. 1 inch upwards from the waistline, and then I'm going to fix my belt like so. Pin it over. Do the same thing for the other side, 1 inch like so. Can you see? And then pin it over. So now for this belt, make sure the belt is inside your material, not outside, so that you'll be able to join it to your main fabric when you're shaping the half length of your dress. So when you're done shaping it, this is how it's going to look like. Can you see the belt? Can you see how neat it's looking? So this is for the top part of our dress, of our baby dress. Now I want to get the bottom part. So the half length is 10 inches. That means the bottom part we are going to use 11 inches, right? So now I got 1 yard of bridal satin doll face. I folded it into 2, and then I cut it open. Why did I do it like this? Just so that I want the bottom part to be very full, right? So I'm going to join it back on the 2 sides, like so. As you can see in the video, I'm going to join it back on the 2 sides. Then when I'm done joining it, I'm going to notch the middle area, right? I'm done joining it, so I'm going to fold it into 2 like so, and then notch the middle area. That middle area that I notched, I'm going to open up 1 part. Right, so when I opened up 1 part like so, you see how long the length of the material is, right? So I'm going to draw gathers on it. When I'm done drawing the gathers, this is how it looks. So now on the half length of the dress, I'm going to mark out the center front and notch it. Then the middle of that bridal satin that I notched, I will pin it together like so, right? Then the 2 edges that I joined, I'll pin it to the two edges of the bodies, the edges of the under part and the edges of the bodies together. Do you understand? And then I'm going to flip it over like this for the zipper allowance area. Can you see? So now if the waist of your baby is 20, that means you get a material that the length of the waist, you make it like 40, so that when you gather it, it's going to look very full and beautiful, right? So that's just it. That's how we got this top part. The waist of my baby is 20, so I cut out a material that is more than 20, and then I gathered it, right? Why are you gathering it? So that you get the fullness. Can you see how full it's looking? We've not even added nets. We've not added anything on it, and it's looking so full and beautiful. So now we're almost done with our baby dress. The next thing we're going to do now is to add our lining to this dress. I wanted to put a hard net on this dress, but after joining the bridal satin, it was so full that I said there was no need, right? So, but if you want to use hard net on your baby dress, after joining the bridal satin, then you join your hard net. Now, please pay good attention to how I'm fixing the lining of this dress. I placed it on top of the bridal satin. Why? Because I want to cover the sewing. I want to make the inner part of this garment very neat, we are doing clean, neat inseam finishing, so I want it to be very neat. Now when you get your lining, you fold it into 4 and then you get your sides and your center and then you pin it on your material the same way you did the bridal satin, right? So when you're done, you just make pleating on it, and then this is how it will look. Can you see why I said you sew it on top, so that when you turn it over, you see how neat the inside of our dress is looking? Very, very neat. Now we'll get our bridal satin like so, and then we'll join it, we'll close it up. You first of all mark out where you want your zip to stop. Wherever you want it to stop, then you close it up. You do the same thing for the lining. The bridal satin separately, the lining separately, right? So remember to fold the rough edges. So when we're done, this is how our outfit is going to look like. Now the last thing we're going to do now is to, can you see, I've joined the zipper area. Can you see what I'm saying? Please, if you have any question, let me know. So I've joined the zip. The next thing we're going to do now is to join the sleeves. Now for the sleeves of this dress, I want it to look puffy, like I want it to have pleating on the shoulder part, right? So I'm going to use a free hand to cut out the sleeve. Now I'm going to go get the length of the sleeve and then come down by 2 inches, and I'll just connect it like so. That first line I marked was the length, can you see, 7 inches, the length of the sleeve. So I marked out 2 inches from the top, I came down 2 inches, and then I connected it like so. So the armhole is 5, but what I measured is 7. Why? Because I want it to have gathers, right? So it's going to be longer than normal. Do you get? And I don't want the sleeves to be straight. No. When I'm done cutting and sewing, you'll see what I'm trying to explain. So this is the sleeve that I'm going to be using for this dress. So I'm going to cut it out now on my main fabric. Guys, please, if you've not made a baby dress before, please use a pattern paper first. Anything you want to do, please cut it first on your pattern paper before you cut it on your fabric, please. So I'm just cutting out the sleeve of the dress. Now, after cutting out the sleeve of the dress, I'm going to attach it to the dress. First of all, I'm going to pin my notched area, that's the center, the middle of the sleeve. I'm going to notch it and pin it to the middle of the outfit, right? And then I'm going to create the gathers on the outfit because I want that shoulder part to be puffy, right? So I'm going to join the sleeves and show you how it's going to look like. So I'm done joining the sleeves. Can you see how it's looking? I've joined the sleeves from one part to the other part. Can you see? Okay. Can you see how I'm making that part? I'm pleating the middle of the sleeves because I want it to have what's that word? Guys, just look, see what I'm trying to explain, right? I want it to be puffy. So now on the sleeve length, right, I'm going to mark out my center, the middle point, and then I'm going to draw gathers on it. This is the style I'm using this is the type of sleeve I'm using for my dress, right? You can decide on any other type of sleeve. There are so many sleeves for children. You can decide on any sleeve you want to make for your baby dress. But this is the sleeve that I'm making for my baby dress, and I think you should try this too. It's always nice for children. So now I've gathered it. Make sure that when you're gathering this round sleeve, you are gathering it with the size of your client, of your baby. if the baby's round sleeve is 7, you make sure that you draw the gather to be 4 inches, right? Or fold 4 inches, so that when you open it up, it will be 8. You use ½ inch to join it. Now I got the borders of this dress and I cut it out. That's what I'm going to use to cover up the round sleeve of this dress. This is just for beautification, right? So when I'm done, this is how the hand is looking. Can you see how beautiful this baby dress is? Can you see how full the bridal satin is, the bottom part is? Can you see how neat it is? On the joining at the back, you see that the 2 half lengths, they are on the same line. So make sure that the both half length lines are on the same place. So when we're done, this is how our baby dress is looking. So thank you guys for watching. And if this tutorial was helpful to you, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. So thank you guys for watching. And then this is our final look, and this is the outfit on my baby. Can you see how lovely it is? Can you see the hand? Can you see the beauty? So this is how your baby dress should look, and when you're done, your baby should be very happy. Can you see how happy she is? Thank you guys for watching.